This is a battle in round 1 of the blue tournament. TWR Danko picking the Boii versus Imperator Romanorum commanding Rome. Both players picking very strong factions early in the tournament. Let's see if that goes well for them. It's the Battle of Tur, a nice and forested map. That's potentially going to serve Rome well, because if Rome takes engagements in the forest, it's going to neutralize some of the epic charge potential of the Boii. 2 Oathsworn, bunch of sword followers, bunch of levy freemen, Celtic skirmishers, 4 heavy horse in total. Very strong build this. Moving up in the forest itself, 1 unit of legionary cavalry, presumably just scouting. And we can't see the Roman build, but it had 6 armored legionaries, which is an unusual choice, but it makes a lot of sense when there is an 8 max of the same unit. Let's see if we see some MLG Roman ambushes here, because armored legionaries are going to do great in a forest. With their armor and their extreme tankiness, they're going to be able to hold out for a long time. Defeat even sword followers if the sword followers don't get a super nice charge off on them. Oathsworn are of course their Achilles heel, so to speak. But armored legionaries are super strong units. Great health, great morale, armor, good melee attack. But I don't know that armored legionaries are much more cost effective than say veterans or evocati, because evocati, what the other units lack in armor, they make up for in melee attack. So we'll see if it works. Auxiliary Syrian archers getting nice shots off on the heavy horse here, and here the Roman army is camped at an angle in the forest, getting a lot of shots off on these heavy horse units. The heavy horse need to be really careful here. Even though they are in the forest, they are going to take damage here. Roman army moving up, Vigiles in front, bunch of armored legionaries in the center, Eagle cohort, just a shit ton of units charging in to the Vigiles for some reason. It's going to eat a lot of javelins. Very risky play there by Danko. He lost a lot of heavy horse for that. Maybe he thought he won't need the heavy horse because this is a forest, but still, for rear charges and for taking out these very dangerous Syrian archers. Syrian archers are going to be much less effective in the forest, of course, but they are still getting kills on the heavy horse. And in the late game, they can be a nightmare. So we have some Celtic warriors here as well for the Boii. Rome very concentrated. Levy freemen throwing javelins at the Vigiles. No doubt just wanting to remove the speed bump units of Rome, so the Oathsworn and sword followers can get good charges against the legionary units. Just go into the forest and have a look at it from this perspective. Armored legionaries look decidedly badass. Eagle cohort, kind of a shitty unit, but they do have the Inspire aura, which can be useful. Here the MLG freemen are charging into Vigiles in the center. They're going to do well on the charge against the Vigiles. Over here, sword followers charging into armored legionaries. The armored legionaries are actually taking a lot of damage from javelins. Managed to throw some javelins themselves, but now they're getting charged. And this is going to be an interesting engagement, because the armored legionaries have taken hit point damage. The sword followers did get a charge, but it is in the forest. Charges going down all across the line. Armored legionaries turning around, and they're getting attacked in the rear. This unit was just a bit too slow to stop the charge from the sword followers. So the sword followers are actually doing quite well against the armored legionaries on the charge, which of course is to be expected. Levy freemen holding the Vigiles so they can't support any fights. Smartly done here by Danko in pulling out his levy freemen. The auxiliary Syrian archers are firing at the Oathsworn general, but since he's in a forest, he's not really taking any damage at the moment. cavalry fight over here. It's going to go decisively in favor of the Boii. They have Celtic warriors and Levy freemen in here, and this auxiliary infantry is good against cavalry. But if the sword followers manage to take care of the auxiliary infantry quickly enough, then the heavy horse are going to have a field day. And look at the armored legionaries just dropping to sword followers. And remember, they did take some hit point damage early on, so that might come into play here. And loyalty of the 10th is popped, so is presence for the Roman army. I must say, this forest engagement is pretty damn cool. Celtic warriors into the armored legionaries, sword followers just getting a lot of kills, but the armored legionaries are starting to grind out the kills. And this forest really works to Rome's advantage here. Headhunt for the strategist general. He's going to do well, but he is up against veterans and armored legionaries, and there is another unit of armored legionaries here, so if the Oathsworn general isn't careful here, he might just get ground down. Heavy shot on the auxiliary Syrian archers could do a lot of damage to the Oathsworn, but they are sort of protected in the forest. On the flanks, the heavy horse taking care of the legionary cavalry. The Roman general is running away, so he's not able to inspire his troops in the center here. The heavy horse that was depleted is losing now to legionary cavalry, but there is a unit of Levy freemen here able to deal with that legionary cavalry, and just losing so many men to the javelins thrown by the legionary Levy freemen. Heavy horse getting into the rear of Rome. This is of course very bad for Rome. Heavy horse chasing down the general and bodyguard of Rome. The auxiliary Syrian archers are going to die, but not super quickly because they're in the forest and they have nice armor. But the rear charges are going to start happening now against the Eagle cohorts, and the armored legionaries here are losing up against sword followers. But the Oathsworn up against 3 Roman units with only a sword follower in support. Danko needs to be super careful here to not lose his general, but the Roman general is going to go down, and that is going to affect the morale of the Roman units. You can see the auxiliary Syrian archers are wavering because the general died. The Eagle cohort is attacked in the rear, and when the general dies, the Romans will have a -15 to their morale, so it's going to be a lot easier for Danko to break the units, and it looks like indeed he is going to be able to just grind it out against these Roman units. Killing the general was important. It was a huge mistake by Imperator Romanorum in sending his general out away from his army. He didn't really need to take care of these Celtic skirmishers in the forest. Auxiliary infantry still holding out somehow against Celtic warriors and Levy freemen. A unit of heavy horse getting destroyed here, but there's just not a whole lot of Rome left on the field. Armored legionaries are attacked in the rear here by heavy horse. Sword followers getting nice kills. But the general of Danko is wavering in the center, so Danko is desperately sending in his Celtic skirmishers, and now the general of Danko is off the field. I still think there is way too much Boii left on the field for Imperator Romanorum to be able to capitalize on the general of Danko being dead. Still nicely done in taking care of the general by ganging up on him, but ganging up on the general meant that he was weaker on the flanks, and he is losing the flanks significantly. Sword followers very depleted, charging into the armored legionaries. Celtic warriors charging into the rear of the armored legionaries. And here you see the benefit of having armored legionaries that are just grinding it out against multiple units. Yes, they are Levy freemen and Celtic warriors, but they are going down super quickly, and the armored legionaries are getting very nice kills. But the armored legionaries are getting attacked in the rear here. They did manage to clean up that blob. Now they're going to be able to rush in and take care of the heavy horse. So although this is fairly intense, I don't think there is any way that the remaining Roman forces can really defeat what's left for the Boii. Levy freemen coming in with their deadly javelins, and in the center there is still an Oathsworn unit doing damage to the veteran legionaries. But this unit, 170 kills, 102 kills. Now these units are probably going to get rear charged. The armored legionaries are going to get rear charged themselves, so even armored legionaries are not going to like getting charged in the rear by a heavy horse. Dropping a lot quicker now that they got knocked down. But this unit was able to finish off one Boii unit, but these sword followers are stationary. They did not get a charge on these armored legionaries. The heavy horse still very much alive here, 135 kills, very nice. Able to rear charge these armored legionaries. And they're not going to like getting rear charged again and again. But here, the armored legionaries are killing off the levy freemen. We have the heavy horse still alive. This Oathsworn unit is going to be a problem for Rome. But the armored legionaries are just holding so well in this forest, destroying multiple units at once. If these units break now, looks like they might. If these armored legionaries are pulled out and deny the rear charge against this heavy horse, that could potentially be huge for Rome. But the armored legionaries getting attacked in the rear again, and the heavy horse just racking up the kills. These armored legionaries are not going to do too well against the Oathsworn, especially not when the heavy horse come in here to knock them down. And yeah, they're attacked in the rear, shaken. Over here they are grinding it out against the sword followers, but these cycle charging heavy horse are going to be the bane of Rome. So bringing the Syrian archers was a questionable choice in my opinion on this forest map, but didn't really pay off. And now the last of the armored legionaries are going down, but an epic battle in the forest. Really liked seeing a melee in the forest like this. It was really cool. I imagine it was hard for the players to micro this effectively, because it's so hard to see what's going on in the forest. But good game, well played, costly victory for the Boii, a valiant effort by Rome. Danko advances by picking the Boii. He can't use Boii for quite some time. The armored legionaries did exemplary, but the Eagle cohort just got spanked. And I wonder how this Roman army would have done if it had removed the Syrian archers, removed the vigiles, removed the auxiliary infantry, and just brought more cavalry. Maybe the army would have needed something to deal with the cavalry of the Boii for sure. But look at this cheeky levy freeman, 115 kills. So it kind of hurts Rome not having levy freeman. Strength and honor.